Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Yes, hi everyone. My name is Urife Ogenayuma Victor. I'm your tech guy. So, welcome to another live stream. Today we'll be building. Today we'll be working, and today we'll be building a very interesting application. All right. I earlier posted before now that I will be designing a I'll be designing the basics of JavaScript and stuff like that. So, yeah, we are live. We are live. So, um, invite others, right? Invite others now. Invite others. We're streaming to our YouTube. We're streaming to YouTube. We're streaming to Facebook. We're streaming to all our pages. So, invite others to join us now. Invite others to join us now. We are live. All right. My name is De Victor, or my name is Urife Ogenayoma Victor. All right. Now, I would love that every one of us, I would love that every one of us, let's go to my YouTube channel, subscribe if you are watching from YouTube. That would be very lovely. So, without much ado, like I said, today we'll be building a calculator from ground up using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So, quickly go in the comment section now. If you can hear me loud and clear, quickly go in the comment section and say yes, you can hear me loud and clear, and we will continue. All right. We want to in 30 minutes, right? We want to in 30 minutes build a web, we want to build a calculator. And this thing will give you the fundamentals and the understanding of web development. This is actually very crucial, most especially those persons that are starting their programming journey in my channel, both on Facebook, both on YouTube, and all other social media channels. So, welcome once again. We start now. So, let me quickly invite everyone now. All right. Okay. All right. Now we are good. All right. Now we are good. Now, so quickly, I want to start our project. We want to start our project now. What the first thing we are doing now is the first thing we are doing now. Let's open our VS Code. I said in 30 minutes we want to do that. I don't want to waste so much time talking. So I want us to dive into action. So now let's open our Visual Studio Code. All right, now this is the Visual Studio Code, and this is the IDE of choice that we'll be using. All right, this is the IDE of choice that we'll be using. Now, the first thing you are going to ask yourself is, okay, how are we going to, like, how do we start with VS Code? Now, VS Code is the IDE of choice because it actually simplifies your coding process. It has so many components and plugins that you can add to it. So I'll quickly open a new folder, or I've created a folder before now. So I'll quickly open a new folder by pressing Ctrl K. All right. So I'll quickly open a new folder, press Control O. So I'll select a folder from my, okay, let me choose a folder from, okay, let me choose my folder. Um, yes. Okay, let me choose my JavaScript folder. Now, this is the folder that we'll be using. We'll be building the project into this folder. All right. So I'll select this folder. Sorry. Let's go back to desktop. Let's select JavaScript, and let's select a folder rather. Let's select a folder. All right, let's select a folder. The folder that we'll be starting with, let's select a folder. So go to desktop. Make sure you've created a folder in your, make sure you created a folder in your, sorry, make sure you've created a folder in your desktop or anywhere you want to actually store what your codes. So make sure you've selected the folder. So I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new folder for this our project, and I'll call the folder calculator, or you calculate. So it's just it's just a basic folder. Now inside this folder now, because the project will have HTML, right? Now the next one will be styles.css. All right, styles.css. All right, now the last one will be will be script.js. Now the script is where the JavaScript code will be stored. So that's how we're calling it, script.js. All right, now this is it. Now the first thing first we are going to do very quickly, is to first of all write the HTML code, right? Write the HTML code, write the CSS alongside write the JavaScript code. So now let's write the HTML code. There is this shortcut I normally use. I will just press shift. I will just press shift and 1. All right. It will give me the EMT abbreviation, right? The EMT abbreviation, we will quickly run it there. Now, this is actually the basic thing. This is the first thing you will write normally when you're trying to write HTML. Now, I will not explain some of these basics. Maybe later on in my YouTube channel, you can actually get some of this. But this actually gives you what the bare bones structure or the bare bones structure of the code you are trying to write. You can see doc type HTML, language, English, but we don't need, right? We don't need some of these things. So we can quickly change this title now to what we call calculator. So let's see okay, calculator. All right. Now this is the calculator when we're done with that. Now remember that we'll be adding a CSS. So let's quickly import our CSS by typing. We can just type link. All right. When I type link now, you can see it's showing me link CSS. This is because of the MTab extension that I installed in Visual Studio Code. So by doing like this, I've imported my CSS into my HTML. Without importing the CSS, there is no way I am going to be able to, the code will not be able to style our code. So what we're going to do now, we've completed everything in the header. What we're going to do now is we're going to write the codes for what the CS. We're going to write the bare bone structure or the bare bone codes of the HTML. Like what will be what will be displayed, the content that will be displayed. How are we going to do them? So the first thing we're going to write a model div. Now, what is a div? Right? What is a div? Now, a div is there's no it does not have any specific meaning, but it's actually used to mark up attributes and select. Now it's basically used to put things together. If they are in a class, there is in a title. No, if you want to put complete content together, you use what div. So this is a model div. Now inside the model div, we are going to create another div. Now this div would be what we be. That would be the div that we have things that will be displayed. So I'll quickly div dot display. All right, because I want to display a first content. So div dot display. So now the class name is display, and I want it to display 0 like a normal calculator. So the first thing is going to display what? It's going to display what? A 0. Now, but I still want to give this this div an ID because I'll be styling it differently. So I'll just quickly come here. I'll just quickly come here. I'll say ID. Then what the name of the ID is still what? Display. All right. Now we've created this div, right? Now what we're going to do again now is create another div because we want to put this one that when you open a calculator, what will be the first thing that will be displayed? The 0. So next what we're going to do, we create another div for what? The buttons from 0 to 9 and everything. So let's quickly do that. So div this, okay, Control Z. Let me just teach you. If you are using VS Code, just put div dot the class name you want to do, buttons, buttns, buttns, buttons. So it creates a class name for me, buttons. You can see it there. So now I need button. I need a button now. But this button, you see, this button will have. I want it to display in a particular format. So let me quickly create the first one. Let me create the first dot button. Now this dot actually means that I want to create a class called what? Button, right? Now when I click enter, you see class name is what? Button. But that is not it. We want to carry out a particular function, particular stuff. We call it, we can use in the DOM. DOM actually be document object manipulation. No, you want to carry out a DOM manipulation, or want to manipulate the document. In other words, we want to make sure that this code that we are writing, we'll be able to manipulate it, we'll be able to make it change when we go to JavaScript or what CSS. So I will add an on-click. I do call it an on-click listener, but we'll add an on-click. So we'll put on-click, because when we click the button, we want it to do something. On-click, what is it going to do? We'll say append to display. What then? Append, right? Append to display, right? Append to display. What is it going to append to display? So it's going to append the first thing I want from the arrangement I have. I want 7 to display. Append to display 7. Then what is the content that will be displayed? What the content that will show in the calculator will be what? 7. Now you can see with this now, we've created what the first button. So what I'm quickly going to do now, I'm going to add the other buttons, because we're still going to use what the same format, but I will explain just one aspect of these buttons what for you, which is actually what an operator. We're going to add an operator what to this thing that we are doing. So quickly, let's do that. Let's do that now. We've added 7. So now you can see we've added buttons for 8, added button for 9. Now, this button operator, we've created a button, a class still the same way, but this one we are giving it a different class name called what? Button operator, because we'll be creating a particular function later on in JavaScript that will be able to make us carry out some mathematical what? Manipulations. All right. So we've done that. This is just the basic structure of what we are going to what we are going to do. So we've created a div. Now the last thing we are going to do in this particular stuff now is to now also in the body we are going to what? Import the script. All right, we are going to import the script. Now the script is actually what? The JavaScript, because we are going to carry out some manipulations later. Now the script source is what? /. Just go there. This is what the JavaScript code that we will be working on. So guys, this is it. If we are to display this stuff now, you will see if you are to display this stuff now, let's use live preview. You can see that it does not look at how it displays. It does not have any pattern. It does not make any sense what in any format. So this is just it without styling, but you can see each of the buttons, they are here. Each of the buttons are here. But so what we're going to do now, we are going ahead. We're going to style what this code. So remember, we've imported it before now at the head. You can see it. This link. We'll call the style sheets. You can styles.css. So now let's go to styles.css. Now in styles.css, the first thing we are going to do, right? Because we want to first of all give it a pattern. So what we're going to do, we want to give the calculator a pattern. We don't just want it to be aligning anyhow what's in the calculator. Now, you're going to ask yourself, what is CSS? CSS stands for what? Cascading style sheet. So the first thing I'm going to do, remember that there are three types of identity rules. There are three types of identity rules in CSS. So if you want to uh, if you want to identify if you want to identify an element, all right, you want to identify an element or a tag, identify an element or a tag, you use the tag name, right? If you want to identify a class, you use dot the class name. If you want to identify an ID, you use hash what? The ID. So let's quickly import now the body. Now, this is the body. We use our curly braces, right? Use our curly braces. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, want to display it flex. Okay, I normally use a shortcut. I'll just put DF, display flex, right? Align center. I'll just justify. I want to justify the content center. Also, okay, JC JCC, I'll just put JCC, that is justify content center. This is my shortcut way of using. So if I want to do align, now I want to align all the items to be at the center. So I'll put AIC, align items center. So it does that for me. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I want it to cover the whole screen. In other words, it should cover the whole screen, depend whatever. So I'll just put the height. Height will be 100% of what? The view height, such that it will be what? Very reactive. Now the last thing I'm going to do on this aspect, I'm going to create a margin of what? A margin of 0 or M0, 0 pixel, 0, a margin of 0. Now I'm going to actually import a font family. Now the font family I'm going to use is Arial. So I'll put font family. Font family, I'm going to use what? The basic one. Oh, let's use any of them. Okay, let's use font Arial. Let's use Times Roman. Okay, let's use Times Roman for example. All right. Now we've styled the body. Now let's go to let's check live preview and see what we are doing. All right. There's still no effect now, right? Because we have not done nothing much. Now next thing we're going to do next. We're going to now start with the calculator itself. Remember, we gave now. If you come here now, we gave these. Where is it? We gave this stuff a class name called what? Calculator. All right. We gave it a class name called calculator. The main div. We ought to have given it a class name called calculator. So let's quickly give it a class name now, so that we're able to style the whole display now. So let's give it a class name called calculator, such that we'll be able to style it properly. So we want to style the calculator now. So I made an error there, because without that we're unable to style it. ACULATOR9, right? Now Control S. So let's go back to this place now. So let's quickly style our calculator. So in the comment section, I'm looking at the comment section now. What do you think should be how are we going to import calculator? So we're going to put dot CAC calculator, any name we give to it, CACULATOR. All right. The class name, which is a class name. Now the calculator. So let's give it a width of 300 pixels. All right. I'll be using pixels in this particular code, 300 pixels. Now I'm going to give it a background color of, I want to give it a background color of not actually white, but we'll change it after all, maybe when we're playing later. But I want to give it something like silver. So I'm going to use F3. That's the color for silver. F3. Oh, sorry. F3. All right, that's almost something like silver, not pure white. Pure white is FFFF. So let's give it a border radius, because we want to give it some borders. So let's give it a border radius of let's say 10 pixels, so that's a little bit rounded at the edge. All right. Now the next thing we're going to do is to let's create a box shadow, because we want it to be very fine. Let's create a box shadow, or BS. All right, it's not bullshit anyways. A box shadow, let's put 0, 0, then 10 px, Okay, 10px. All right, now we're giving top, bottom, but want to add it, want to add just one more. So I'll give this one 0.1. I think, yeah, 0.1 will be not -1, sorry, 0.1. 0.1 will be okay. All right, now 0.1 will be very, very much okay. Now we've done with the styling of the calculator. Let's check our code now. Let's quickly go. Let's share a preview. Now you can see it's still not there. It's not taking much time. I'll quickly bring in the code for the display. Now let me quickly add the display now. Remember the display. I will explain what the display actually does. So let me add the code for the display. All right, now, okay, I think there is an error in this code. Where is the error coming from? Say there's an error in this code. Where is that error? Okay. All right. Okay. I don't know. Let me quickly search. Let me quickly correct it. Okay, I've seen it. Okay. See, there's an error in the code. That's why it's not working. So in the comment section, I'm going through the comment section now. Who can tell me why the code is giving us some errors? Who can tell me why the code is giving us some errors? All right, now this is why it's giving us what errors. So we'll quickly close it down. Let's quickly close it down. So that's why it's giving us some errors. So now the next thing is now. If you check this out now, we've created a styling. Let me go and explain the code now. This is the style. This is the class name display, right? We are creating the styling for the display now. So if you come here now, you see display. Display, we're giving a height of 60, text right, padding 10 pixels, font with 1.5 ems, which is about, I think, a 16th of a pixels. Then the bottom border, we're giving a 1% solid, so that there'll be spaces between them, white spaces between them. Now let's run our code again. Let's run our code and see. Is it giving us something making sense now? No. So let's put this on our side. Now let's continue. Want to create a styling for what? The button. Want to create a styling for the button. Okay, I think why we are not having our correct code is because of, if you see, this is why our codes are not what? Correct. All right, because now take note, it's very, very important that the name of the file the name you use in naming the file is the name, right? Is the name you are using for is the name that you imported into your HTML. If not, whatever you are doing will not display. So now that we've corrected that, you can see our calculator is taking some kind of shape already. So we'll continue. Now let's style the button. You can see the display already has some stuff. Let's quickly style the buttons now. So the buttons is quite simple. So you are going to tell me now. So buttons. Remember the name. Come here. Let's come here now. Look at the name we gave to it. This complete class we gave it was a class name of what? Buttons. So we are going to style the buttons, not the button. We style the buttons separately, but we are going to style the buttons, general group of what? Buttons, because we are going to style that div, or that's the class we used to hold every of the buttons together. Otherwise, we gave it the name of what? Buttons. So take note of that. If I want to import a class, it will be dots, buttons, right? Sorry, dots, not comma. Buttons. All right. Now buttons, same way we've been doing before. Now let's give it a display. No, we are going to display it, or GD, display grid. GD, display grid. Right. You can see everything now is taking a grid format. Now want to create a grid template. Now, grid template is actually used for put elements into grid. We don't call grid. We want to create one, two, three, four, or call them columns, different columns separated. So I'm going to create a div or with 4 columns in what 4 columns per row, 4 columns per row in one frame. So let's quickly put that. Put grid template columns, right? Repeat, because we don't want it to be once. Repeat what 4 columns in one frame. All right. Now 4 columns in one frame. I use the shortcut FR. Now, if I were to come here now, you will see something. If I were to come to the display now, you can see that show you 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 columns what in one row. You can see it's very, very what responsive. So the next thing we are going to do, right? Next thing we are going to do now is to style the button and style what's the operators. Now, the operators, we want to give the operators, these operators like this, the division sign, the multiplication sign, the subtraction sign, the addition sign. We want to give them, because to give them a class name of operator, we'll give them what a different color so that they'll be different from the rest, just like our normal calculator what are. All right, so I'll quickly go on now. I will style the buttons. So let's quickly style the buttons, because we have some good amount of code to write in the JavaScript for what for it to have some functions. So I'll quickly come here now. I'll style what the buttons. Voila, we've gotten it. So let me explain it to you now. Now, if you come to the HTML, you will see we're giving each of them has a class name of what button, 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 button. Now, so we want to start each of the buttons now, and remember this other addition, the division, multiplication, addition and subtractions signs. We gave them a class name of what operator. So we quickly did that now. So we created a width of 100%, right? A height of what 80 pixels, so that they will have an equal height. Then a font size, like the text size. Right, let me extend this one a little. Right, the text size to be to 1.2 m, so you can actually, maybe we'll do a class on that on YouTube. Different units in CSS. Then we added that. Oh shit! Sorry. I'm coming. Just hold on. I think they've collected my light. So everyone, just pause a little. Okay. Hold on. Just hold on. Let's pause the stream. All right. So everyone, hold on. Let's pause the stream. All right. Let's pause the stream. I'm sorry about that. They just took my light. Each. We didn't expect that. So, but this is what we've been doing. This is what we've been doing. Right. This is what we've been doing. So we'll pause here for now. And see how we are going to continue. So everyone, just hold on. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be back to the Give me 2 minutes. I'll be back to the stream. Okay, guys. Sorry for that. Sorry for that. If you can still hear me, please or drop a comment. If you can still hear me, just drop a comment. If you can still hear me, just drop a comment. I'm sorry about that. All right. I'm sorry about that. If you can still hear me, just drop a comment. Just drop a comment. Just drop a comment. All right. If you can, um, if you can still hear me, please just drop a comment. If you can still hear me, just drop a comment. All right. Now I believe you can hear me very well. So now we are done with the styling. Now this is how our calculator looks like. This is how our calculator looks like. You can see it's not having any function now because we've not done anything as regards the JavaScript for it to start appending on click. So let's quickly do some. Maybe we want to add a little styling. So let's increase the border radius to, instead of 5, let's take it to 15. Okay, 5. Let's take it to 15. Then we'll save. Then let's give it. Let's increase the margin. Right. Let's increase the margin to turn. Okay, margin. This is the margin. Okay, margin to 10. That's margin top from each other. So let's put another one, margin right. Let's put margin right and also give it what? Let's give it 5 pixels. Okay, and see how it will look like. Does not really. Okay. Or should we give them individual padding? Okay, Control Z. Let's give it a padding. Okay, let's give it padding of what? Auto. All right, so let's see. Looks like. So what we are going to do now, right? What we're going to do now is to actually create, for it to be functional. What we just did now is to create the basic. This is a basic user interface of it to the JavaScript. Now, I'll drop the code for the JavaScript and explain each and every step so that we will not spend so much time writing each and every one of them from scratch. So let me quickly add the code for the JavaScript. Now, this is the code for the JavaScript. So if I press S now and test our calculator, 7 will display. If I press C, it will what? It will cancel. So we can actually give C a special color by adding what? We can give C a special, we can make C spread by changing the class, then we style it separately. So let's quickly come here now. So what we're going to do first of all, so we'll say we are going to create a variable. Now, we're going to create a variable by using the let display equals an empty, right? Let's be an empty string. Now let operator press equals to what? False. In other words, let it just be as it is. Now we're going to create. We'll go ahead and create 4 functions. This is the first function, function 1, function 2, function 3, and the 4th function. Now, the individual functions are actually there to help us carry out. The individual functions are actually there for us to carry out specific task. Task. All right. Now let's do the first function. Now the first function, remember, we're carrying out a DOM manipulation now. Take note of what we did here. We created a class name called we created an on-click list. Now we give the name of the on-click. We give the name of the on-click as what? Append to display. So we are going to import that because we are going to import that the name we gave to the on-click. All right, the on-click as like a class. Yes, like a class. Like the way we understand class, we just understand it like the on-click, giving it a name is just like you giving it a class, giving a class a name. So we are going to call that function called display function append to display. Be what we append to what? To display. I will give a value. Now we'll say if the operator is pressed, right? If the operator is pressed. Now, what are the operators? The division, the multiplication, the subtraction, the addition sign. If they are pressed, right, it should include the value that they are pressing it with and return, right, and return. Now, if the value is equal, is having a point, right? If the value is having a point, now, if the value is having a point, if the value is having a dot, so value is equals to what? Dot. So we're going to create a function inside that function. I'm going to create a constant called what? Last number to display. So last number is equals to what? Display dot split depends on what is pressed. Dot pop any other extra value that is included. So now what we're trying to do, we're trying to create a particular condition. We're creating a condition such that if we have decimal numbers, this is it here. Let me zoom the screen so that you see it. All right, I think, okay, can you see it now? Oh, okay, let me zoom out a little. The last, let's say constant, say if the last number dot include a dot, you should return the other numbers that are there that are remaining. Now then we say you should return return those values. Now we display the values operator pressed. That is, operators were still, remember these are the operators that we've created before now. On operator pressed, these are the operators we've done before now, right? Operator pressed. Then we add we're going to add the different operators, include the value, and what? Update display. For now, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to create a function for what? Function. What's the name of the function? Update display. Then what is the function all about? We'll say constant display. All right, we are not creating another constant. This is actually DOM manipulation. I'll make a video on it on YouTube so you're able to see it. So constant is equals to document.get element by ID. Take note. What is the name of the ID we are getting? It's what? Can you see it here? The name of the ID we are getting what is display. Can you see it? ID. Get element by ID. Remember what we declared in HTML is what? Display. So we come here, we say document get element by ID. What the name of the ID was? Display. Now display dot text content also display value, such that what we're trying to do is that when we press any of these things, it should what? Display. So this function is in charge of what? Updating the display. Let me zoom out a little. Let's do something now. Sorry. Oh, Control S. Okay. Let me zoom out a little so that you see what I'm talking about. All right. Now, such that to be able to update display, so that if I press 7 and 4, it will update. Can you get me now? It will update. So that is what that particular function is all about. So let's zoom in again. Oh, sorry. What did I do? Sorry. Should be Control plus. Control plus. All right. So let's quickly go. The next thing now, like I told you, we'll be creating function for each of the things we are doing. Now, the next function is what? For the calculator. Right now, we're going to use a try and catch. These are different ways, ways of creating conditions in JavaScript. Maybe we'll make a video on that. Take note of what I'm talking about now. Maybe we'll make a video on that on our YouTube channel. So quickly go search for STEM Pro on YouTube and subscribe, because we'll be making explanatory videos. So what we're going to do, we're going to use try and catch. Now, we're going to try that if the constant result is if the constant result is a string, or we want to evaluate the constant result. We want to evaluate the constant result, that if it should execute it. In other words, if the constant result is actually correct, it should display the value, or display anything that value. So we also use the eval. Right now, display value is equals to result dot get to string. What is the string? What is the string? That is, I know you asked me that question. Put it in the chat session, and we answer you. Then we are going back to what? Update display. We'll go back to what? Update display. So we're displaying the content. If not, cache. All right. If not, we are using the try and catch. That if the try, what we are trying to do, is not available, it should what? Return an error. That is the catch error. Display what? This is display error. So we can put anything here to display. Those are sometimes we can put syntax error. Now, if what we are doing is not in the range of what we've created the function, you should display what? Error. Then the last thing we're going to do is to create a function to clear display, which is what? This value here, right? This value here, this value to clear display, this one to clear the display. Empty is an empty string. All right. This is to what? To clear display. C. So we create that for that. So we're going to now function for clearing the display, because you don't want your what you're trying to do to be what? Be persistent. You don't want what you're trying to do to be persistent. You don't want what you're trying to do to what? You don't want what you are trying to do to be persistent. You want to what? Make sure that what? You clear display. So we're going to display as an empty. We are going to clear the cleared value to make the string or everything or empty. The operator press false, and at the same time return what the update display. You can take note that the update display is added to each the subsequent functions what after it. The reason is because we want to make sure that everything we are doing what keeps what updating themselves. So let's test our calculator now. You can see it's quite what easy. It's not really something what difficult. So let's check it now. Let's do a basic arithmetic. Let's say, for example, now 78 divided by 5 equals, can you see, giving us 16.5. Now to update using the same, now we're still updating display. Remember, in the calculator we say it should keep evaluating and updating the display. Now 16.5 using this times, which is this star button, times 9, we put equal to, it will give us 140.4. Now 140.4 plus 6, it keeps updating. You are 140.6. Now 140.6, right? Let's add plus 0.6 is equal to what? Can you see it? It keeps what? Updating. That is how what the value we want, so we can easily what? Clear it. So ladies and gentlemen, this is just it. It is not difficult. Let's go through it again. We created the bare bone structure in HTML, created them is very basic display. Then we went ahead to do the CSS. We start the body, start the calculator, start the display, start the buttons, which is for the mother div. This is the mother div. Then we start the individual buttons like what? Like so. All right. So maybe they are too dark now. Let's add the text. Should we add the buttons to be bold? Should we add display to be bold? All right. Text align center. We can make them bold. Let's put font weight, FW, font weight. Let's change it to Ctrl Z, sorry. Let's change font weight to be bold. All right, you can see the display now. The 0 is now what? Very bold. So if we save now, anything we're displaying now, you can see that they are very what? Bold. So we can actually come here now. For the buttons too. If you want to change the color of the buttons, you can also do that. So FW2 for font weight normal, right? So we can actually change it to 400. Okay, let's change it to be bold. All right, you can see that the buttons are what now? The buttons are now what? Bold. All right, we can increase the size and do what not. So if you think this star is not good, you want us to change it to X. So we can come to the here now. We can come here now. You see, remember what we say. This append to display should be this. So I can easily delete this and change it to X. Right? Delete this and change it to X. All right. So once I click on save now, you can see. So let's do 5x6 is equals to what? It is giving us what? An error. Why is that so? Because now you notice something now, because we changed this thing from star to X. change from star to X, it has evaluated what we're trying to do, and I updated the display using the try and catch. It's giving us this error. Now the reason it's giving us that is because now if you look at this particular function to append to display, we are still having the star instead of the X. So let's quickly come here and change it to X. Let's come here. Where is it? So we're going to Control Z. I'm coming. Control Z again. So let me change it all at once. All right. So this is something. Highlight it. Highlight this particular one so that you change it all at once. Press Control Shift L. So everywhere just press Control Shift and L. Everywhere that particular thing you highlighted is in the code, you can change it at once. So I will delete it and put X. So now I've updated everything at once. So if I click on save now, you can see it will work now. 5 times 6 equals to, still giving us an error. Where it's so. All right, there's something we are not doing. So let's quickly revert back, but you can actually do that, but make sure you change it. Control Z, come here. Control Z. Control Y. All right, now let's save S. Okay. Let's come here. Let's just change the display. Now let's change the display. All right, so we shift it. So let's save. So now let's do it for 5 times 6. 5x6 is equals to 30. Can you see it now? So we are still very much correct. So ladies and gentlemen, I'll stop sharing now. Okay, so everyone, thank you so much for staying to this time. I think and I know you love this. I know you've enjoyed it. So that's that. Maybe after now we'll come live and maybe we'll work on another project. So enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much. Enjoy yourself. Bye-bye. So this is it. We have our calculator. Let me quickly, we have our calculator there, fully functional. And that's that for today. So thank you for staying to this time. Bye-bye.